I think this is all about new mindsets, ability to flex, ability to experiment. And Partha, therefore, I want to come back since you raised a question on employees and on how you look at them. Do you think, given all that we are hearing from Romel and then we just heard from Vivek, is the employee upskilling going to look very different? Now, you were part of a big conglomerate, a fairly heterogeneous workforce. What do you think is really going to change? What is it going to be? More the behavior, the disposition, the softer skills? Will it be a lot more of newer functional capability that might be sweeping, leveraged by digitization? And you've also had a great background in finance. So will it really add up to financial resilience for a potential crisis that may come, who knows, sometime again in the future? Partha?
Second, okay, sorry. It's a very, very interesting question. Thank you. The Zoom is very intuitive also. It says unmute. You are speaking without, so it told me to, it upskilled me. Okay. So, but basically a very interesting question, because now we need to kind of say that the new world, there will be some continuity from the old world. It is not as if, if you look at 1900 and you look at today, it's not as if things have, there is no commonality. There is some things common. And part of it is what Vivek referred to as values. What I said is, how do you deal with community? These things were there in 1900 and it is there today also. Okay. So there are things which will change and they'll not. So the key thing to say is, how do you upskill so that you are more relevant when you come out on the other side? Okay. And I think it's very important for us to kind of say that what is that you don't want to forget. You don't want to forget that you face the crisis. You don't want to forget that crises are here to come and we need to kind of do, but at the same time, we have to upskill on something. So I was kind of give you an example of how upskilling impacts people. And I will tell you about 1900 story, not today's story. In 1900, there was a photo taken of the New York Fifth Avenue. And all the entire thing was of horse carriages. And this is exactly 1900, not a single piece of car. There was one hidden away, and I generally present this photo and say, pick up the car in the lineup. Okay. 13 years later, in 1913, same street, another photograph. And this time the question is to find the horse carriage. Okay. So in 13 years, the world of Fifth Avenue changed by being only horse-driven carriage to this. I'm not in terms of technology here. I'm saying what skills were required in an automated car era versus an horse carriage era. What happened to all the drivers of the horses? Did they become drivers of the cars? And if so, how? And it's a very interesting thing to look. So and another thing in the current world, IT has changed dramatically, right? 10 years back or 7 years back, there was a question as, will any of our IT companies in India survive? Because the whole thing is changed to digital, right? So, and we were services from India. So will it change? But you see now it is pivoting. We are still very much the, as an IT, now it is a digital capital rather than an IT capital. We have done some things well, we may need to do. So what is that we can learn? First thing we can learn is, this is all about adaptability. Okay. I have a finance academy, which as a CFO I ran, and I told that I don't want accountants anymore. I want PhDs and researchers. And I say, you'll ask me why an accountant needs to know accountancy. Why does he know research and want to know to be PhD? And the only answer I had was that the future, the accountancy may be done by computer. So what are you going to do? You're going to give insights from that and inputs on top of that. And therefore, how do I make you adapt to the new future? So the new upskilling should be focused on thinking differently. Ability to what, I'll build on Romel, saying, how does everyone think of scenarios? And the beauty is the future, such backs and events may come even faster. If you think of the organizational CEO only will think of this, we are setting ourselves for failure. So if you are upskill for them to be able to think about scenario, so that there are millions of people thinking about that as it comes. So you equip the entire organization to deal with black swan event. We had Anand Mahindra had given a slogan to us many years back called zero trauma. The zero trauma was not about the trauma will not happen. Avoid trauma. Avoid any black swan event. Avoid this. That's not up to you. How do you behave in such a manner? How do you create ecosystem and adaptability in such a manner that you are not struggling because of it? Many of them said you are fools because you have cash on your balance sheet. You should leverage.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of look back at them and say, okay, tell me now. Okay, but there's no right answer. Okay, so it's not a smug answer. I'm just saying we need to think about these kind of things and build capability and build zero trauma. That's the third one of upskilling. How do you build that zero trauma into the ecosystem? So how do people? And what the biggest thing is, if you can alone make everybody, an old one, old कहानी is ना हिंदू बनेगा ना मुसलमान बनेगा, इंसान की औलाद है इंसान बनेगा. The second line just saying digital की औलाद है digital बनेगा. So you now need to have a new digital child. Okay, so then that is what we need now in the new world. If our sons cannot be our mentors, we got something wrong.
Well said.
So we need to kind of do. And what should we focus on? Upskilling should focus on productivity, talent, hiring costs, cross-functional ability, and employee motivation. And if we can do this, I think we are ready as an organization. At least this crisis would have taught us something great of upskilling. Okay.
So well said, Partha. And you've touched a lot of things, and I wish we have another opportunity of exchanging views, because it will finally call out issues around leadership and culture that possibly many companies will need to reinvent, because you can't get to what you advise unless really from the top down, from the board down, the thinking is different.